I'm going to be covering MIP-17 in this video. It hasn't gone into effect yet. It is expected to go into effect July 8th, so coming up pretty soon here. And I'm going to go through what the details are of this MIP, what my thoughts on it are, as well as, if you're impacted by it, what your options are, whether you have pre-orders in or you are managing a fleet or an individual contributor today. So the premise of MIP-17 has to deal with running two dash cams with a specific driver. So since the beginning of this project, you've been able to run a front-facing dash cam as well as a side-facing on the passenger side. And they are making some changes in regards to having a side-facing dash cam. And I do have to say, I think the changes they're making do make sense because ultimately we should be rewarded for collecting data that's valuable for the network. And there are certain times when side imagery is not valuable. But starting off where it is valuable is in cities where you have storefronts or suburbs. Now, where it's not super valuable would be if you're on the interstate or over certain speeds, the imagery becomes blurred. So what they've done is they've capped the speed at which you can drive and get credit for side-facing imagery. And the cutoff is 40 miles per hour, or if you go by kilometers per hour in your country, it looks like it is 65 kilometers per hour is now the limit. So if you exceed those speed limit caps, you will no longer get credit for your side imagery. So they did put this out a few weeks ago now. So they did give us some time, as opposed to other MIPs that they pushed out pretty quickly. I do appreciate that they gave us some extra time on this one because there are people that, like myself, for example, that have fleets where we're running multiple dash cams with drivers, and we needed some time to kind of figure out what we're going to do. But I want to run through some different scenarios that you might be in and what your options are. So starting off with, if you have pre-orders, let's say you don't have dash cams today. If you were just planning on running front-facing mounts with your drivers, you're really unimpacted by this MIP. If you were planning, however, to run both a front and a side-facing dash cam, you need to really dig into what type of driving they're doing, because if a lot of their driving or a large percentage of their driving is highway mileage where they're at higher speeds, you might want to reconsider your deployment. And basically what that would look like is, can you recruit twice as many drivers? Where you can put those cameras as front-facing mounts with, additional drivers. You could cancel your orders. You could also sell it on the secondary market. Now, I will say, compared to earlier this year, back probably, I guess, February timeframe when, the token price really took off. There's the Coinbase listing. Rewards were substantially better than they are currently. Dash cams were selling for over $2,000 in some cases. That has definitely come back down to earth. You'll see here, there's one that's being bid on 33 bids, still 2 days left, $305. This one is a buy it now at $448, not being sold. Let's see here, keep going down the list here. You've got one at $399. You've got a $340 one, buy it now. So this is not going to be something, at least in its current state, where you're going to be able to take shipment and likely make a profit. Now, that could change, right? If the market turns around, the DePIN narrative really takes off and the token price moves back up in the other direction, generally secondary market values will follow. But that would be a very speculative play. Personally, I would not be taking shipment with the goal of selling it on the secondary market because there's just so much that's outside of your control there. I would really only be keeping your orders if you're planning on placing them with a driver. Now I want to talk about if you have dash cams deployed today, and I'm in this situation, right, with my fleet where I have a number of drivers that have two dash cams. What I'm personally planning to do is evaluate what the rewards look like on the side-facing mount for a couple weeks, and then deciding, whether or not it makes sense to keep that side mount with those particular drivers. Because you might have some drivers that do a lot more mileage in the city, and in that case, it'd probably be worth it keeping the dash cam with them. But I also have some drivers that travel from Chicago up to Wisconsin or to Indiana. They do a lot of highway mileage. In that case, it might not be worth it. But in order to assess that, you're going to want to make sure that you have separate accounts In other words, you're going to need 2 wallets per driver. One that is, logged in and attached to just that front camera mount, and then you're going to need a secondary account. So you have to log in with a different Phantom wallet into the Hivemapper app for the side mount, because that's the only way you're going to be able to determine what the rewards are per dash cam. So for me, I do have a number of drivers that I've been using the same wallet for both their front and their side cam. I'm going to have to go through and set up secondary accounts for each of those drivers now in order to assess what those rewards look like. So again, this will take place on July 8th, coming up pretty soon. I will do a follow-up video to let you know what my findings are as far as, running a front and a side mount and different drivers, and kind of break down those rewards, because I know for people that are waiting on their pre-orders, you have no way of really testing this out. So I'll let you know what my findings are. Hopefully that can help you make an educated decision on what you want to do moving forward. Look, all in all, I think it makes sense. We need to be rewarded for imagery that's valuable to the network. If it's blurred, if it's on the side of a highway, it's not very valuable. Is it an inconvenience? Yeah, but it is what it is. We want to push this project forward. So, let me know what your thoughts are on this MIP. If you have any questions, feel free to ping me in the comments below. As always, I appreciate your viewership. Signing off, this is Bradley Meyer with the DePIN Connection.